Hi, I'm Kurt, and it's late January, and it's about 10 degrees outside, and a little bit too cold to work at a site. So I figured I'd try to answer some of the more frequently asked questions that I run into. And the first one I want to deal with is indoor air quality really a problem? And I think it's a very good question, and I think there's a pretty reasonable answer to that. If you live in an old leaky house, and on a day like today when the wind's blowing really hard, you're probably getting really good ventilation, and any of the pollutants that would build up are easily making their way out. Um, the challenge becomes when you've tightened that house up, or you've built a new energy efficient house, and essentially you've greatly limited the amount of air that moves from the inside of the house to the outside. So my first piece of evidence that I want to present is a study that was recently done in California. And as I turn around here and show you the paper, California study finds excessive formaldehyde levels. And I won't read it all to you. I will post it on the website. But I do want to read a couple of the parts to you here that I find quite interesting. It was a multi-season study of ventilation and indoor air quality, looked at 108 homes in California, all built within the last 4 years. The team found that the single-family detached homes in California were built relatively airtight and had very low outdoor air exchange rates. And they go on to cite a 0.1 change rate. Basically what that means is the full volume of the house would be changed once every 10 hours. ASHRAE would suggest, by their recommendations, to have a change about maybe every 3 hours, or a system capable of that. And as they went on to find in the study, excuse me one second here as I turn the page. And they say the only indoor air contaminants that exceeded recommended non-cancer and non-reproductive toxicity guidelines were formaldehyde and PM 2.5 particulate matter. The formaldehyde, 98% of the homes exceeded the 2008 chronic and 8-hour reference exposure levels for irritant effects of 9 micrograms per cubic meter. 98% of the new houses. Sounds kind of high to me. And to talk about an 8-hour level, which 8 hours is maybe the average person the time they sleep. Goes on to talk about the sources, and the composite wood identified in these homes included particle board that was used in 99% of the kitchen and bathroom cabinetry, as well as many pieces of furniture. Other sources of composite wood include plywood, oriented strand board, or commonly known as OSB, in walls, subfloors, and attics, and medium density fiberboard in baseboards, window shades, interior doors, and window and door trims. Potential sources of some volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs, were identified for homes with elevated indoor VOC concentrations. Then it goes on to say the 3 most frequently reported symptoms were nose sinus congestion, allergy symptoms, and headaches. They also went down and talked about, in the new homes, the low outdoor air exchange rates and indoor concentrations of air contaminants with indoor sources such as formaldehyde and VOCs can be substantially elevated and exceed recommended exposure guidelines. This is interesting. Ducted outdoor air mechanical ventilation systems generally did not perform well as a result of low outdoor airflow rates and short operating times. What they're talking about there is exhaust-only devices such as your range hood and as your bath fan exhausts. Not only one did it say it wasn't meeting the ASHRAE standards, which means they're probably not ducted properly. but certainly the operation times being when people use them, we're not reaching the limits that even ASHRAE says they should be at. So though the systems were in the house, they weren't being utilized. They go on to talk about heat recovery ventilator, mechanical outdoor air ventilation systems perform much better than ducted outdoor air systems. All heat recovery ventilator systems meet Energy California's new 2008 Building Energy Efficiency Standards. And with this information, the ARB is apparently going to require mechanical ventilation systems in all new homes starting in 2010. A little piece of evidence. Is it really necessary? Do we have a problem indoors? And there's a study of 108 homes built within the last 4 years, and the rising levels of formaldehyde just being one example of the things that could be in the house.